Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ashmolean, welcome to the Ancient Near East Gallery. My name is Paul Collins. I'm the curator for Ancient Near East here at the Ashmolean. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all here in this terrible weather, and thank you for braving the snow to be with us this afternoon. I'm very pleased to see so many of you here because, of course, I spend my time thinking about the ancient Near East and the Near East in general, and you're standing or sitting in one of the great collections of ancient Near Eastern art and archaeology in the country. There are few places in the world, perhaps outside of Baghdad, where you can get an overview of 10,000 years of ancient Near Eastern art and history. So I hope you will take the opportunity of being in the gallery to explore some of these objects. And of course what these objects are, as many people will tell you, all the objects in the museum, they're in a sense the memory of mankind. And the memory we have here embodied in these objects, of course, was threatened in Iraq almost exactly 10 years ago with the invasion and occupation of that country. And we saw the terrible looting of the Iraq Museum in 2003. Many of those objects have been recovered, but there are at least 5,000 to 6,000 objects that are still lost to us. So that part of the memory is still missing. And so it seemed a good moment in a way to reflect on those last 10 years of trauma to the world of Iraq and indeed the ancient Near East by thinking about the great achievements of that part of the world. And of course, wherever you look in this gallery, you will see the achievements of ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Iraq, particularly in its literature and its poetry, recorded in the world's first writing. And we have some of the earliest writing in the world for you to explore in some of the cases here. But today it's about reflecting on the past and the great achievements of the past through poetry. And I'm delighted to welcome a great range of experts, renowned poets, to regale you with contemporary and ancient poetry to evoke the great achievements of ancient Iraq. And I'll hand over now to Jenny Lewis, who will introduce the programme for the next half an hour. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for coming through the snow. So I'd just like to introduce Adnan al-Sayegh, who is a very famous and renowned Iraqi poet who reads frequently to large stadiums full of people, but is just as happy reading to small select gatherings as today. Also, we are very lucky to have Joe Brady, who's going to read extracts from the Epic of Gilgamesh. And he, I think, is the sort of now resident Gilgamesh reader for the Ashmolean. So we'll be doing lots more readings of Gilgamesh and discussions about the poem over the next few months. And also we're very lucky to have today Dr. Taj Kandura, who's going to read some of our poems in Arabic for us. So I'll now start off the reading with Joe and Adnan. Thank you.
This is the opening of the Epic of Gilgamesh.
هو الذي رأى كل شيء فغني بذكره يا بلادي، وهو الذي عرف جميع الأشياء وأفاد من عبرها، وهو الحكيم العارف بكل شيء، لقد أبصر الأسرار وكشف عن الخفايا المكتومة وجاء بأنباء ما قبل الطوفان.
He who saw the deep, the country's foundation, who knew, was wise in all matters. Gilgamesh, who saw the deep, the country's foundation, who knew, was wise in all matters. He came a far road, was weary, found peace, and set all his labors on a tablet of stone. He built the rampart of Uruk the sheepfold, of holy Eanna the sacred storehouse. See its walls like a strand of wool. View its parapet that none could copy. Take the stairway of a bygone era, draw near to Eanna, seat of Ishtar, the goddess, that no later king could ever copy. Climb Uruk's walls and walk back and forth. Survey its foundation, examine the brickwork. Were its bricks not fired in an oven? Did the 7 sages not lay its foundations? A square mile is city, a square mile date grove, a square mile is clay pit, half a square mile the temple of Ishtar. 3 square miles and a half is Uruk's expanse. See the tablet box of cedar. Release its clasp of bronze. Lift the lid of its secret. Pick up the tablet of lapis lazuli and read out the travails of Gilgamesh, all that he went through.
نص. نسيت نفسي على طاولة مكتبتي ومضيت، وحين فتحت خطوتي في الطريق اكتشفت أنني لا شيء غير ظل نص أراه يمشي أمامي بمشقة ويصافح الناس كأنه أنا.
This poem has been translated by Stephen Watts and Marja Fuguri Artak. Text. I forgot myself at the library desk and got up to go. But as I started up the road, I realized that I was nothing but the shadow of a text, that I could see walking uneasily in front of me and greeting people as if it were me.
كأس. في الحانة كانت بغداد خيوط دخان تتصاعد من أنفاس الجلاس، وأصابع عازفة سكرة تتراقص بين الوتر المهموس وبين الكاس، وإلى طاولتي يجلس قلبي ملتحفا غصته يرنو ولها للخصر المياس، ووراء زجاج الحانة أشباح تترصدني تحصي حول الأنفاس، وأنا محتار يا ربي أين أدير القلب وأين أدير الرأس.
Class. It was Baghdad, in the bar. Ice breathes rising from the drinkers' mouths, and the fingers of a drunk chanteuse dancing between the silent music and the glass. My heart sat at the table in rapt torment, looking on spellbound as the shimmying waste, and behind the tavern windows, ghouls are watching me, keeping tabs on the breath around me, and I feel confused, O Lord, where to turn my heart to, where to turn my head.
شيزوفرينيا في وطني يجمعني الخوف ويقسمني، رجلا يكتب والآخر خلف ستائر نافذتي يرقبني.
Schizophrenia. In my homeland, fear gathers me and pulls me apart. A man who writes and another who watches over me from behind closed curtains.
طلقة عابرة ثقبت حلمه فتدفق فوق وسادته دم أحلامه الخاسرة.
A hole. A passing shot glanced his sleep. The blood of defeated dreams gushed, viscous, onto his pillow.
أبواب. أطرق بابا أفتحه لا أبصر إلا نفسي بابا أفتحه وأدخل لا شيء سوى باب آخر يا ربي كم بابا يفصلني عني.
Doors. I rap on a door. It opens up. All I see of the door is me. It opens up. I go through. Nothing but another door. Lord, how many more holding myself back from me?
تأويل. يمنونني سطورا ويبغوني فصولا ثم يفارسونني ويطبعونني كاملا ويوزعونني على المكتبات ويشتمونني في الجرائد وأنا لم أفتح فمي بعد.
Critical. They write up my lines, split me into chapters, catalog my references, print the whole works, get me in the bookshops, badmouth me in print, and I haven't even opened my mouth.
العراق الذي يبتعد كلما اتسعت في المنافي خطاه، والعراق الذي يبتعد كلما انفتحت نصف نافذة قلت والعراق الذي يبتعد كلما مر ظل تخيلت فوهة تترصدني أو متاه. والعراق الذي نفتقد نصف تاريخه أغان وكحل ونصف طغاة.
Iraq. Iraq disappears with every step its exiles take, and contradicts whenever a window's left half shut, and trembles wherever shadows cross its paths. Maybe some gun muzzle was eyeing me up in an alley. The Iraq that's gone. Half its history was coal and song, the other half evil, wrong.
في حديقة الجندي المجهول، الجندي الذي نسي أن يحلق ذقنه ذلك الصباح فعاقبه العريف، الجندي القتيل الذي نسوه في غبار الميدان، الجندي الحالم بلحيته الكثة التي أخذت تنمو شيئا فشيئا حتى أصبحت بعد 10 سنوات غابة متشابكة الأغصان تصدح فيها البلابل ويلو في أراجيح الصبيان ويتعانق تحت أفيائها العشاق، الجندي الذي غدا متنزها للمدينة. ماذا لو كان قد حلق ذقنه ذلك الصباح؟
In the garden of the unknown soldier. The soldier who that morning forgot to shave his hair, who was punished for it by his sergeant. The soldier left fallen in the dust of battle. The beautiful soldier with his thick beard that got to grow little by little until after 10 years it was a forest of tangled bush, such that nightingales sang in his branches and children always played on his swings and lovers came closer in his shade. The soldier who grew into a park for the whole town. What if that day he'd shaved his head?
تهجدات. أنت ترى ربك في النسل وفي الدم، وأنا أبصره في الكلمة في النغمة في زرقة عينيها واليم.
Night prayers. You see, your God only in blades and blood. I perceive him in a word and a song, and in the blue of her eyes and the sea.
آيات نسخت آيات وتريد لرأسك أن يبقى جلمودا لا يتغير السنوات.
Verses have annulled verses, and you walked your head rock hard and unchanged through the years.
يا هذا الفان ولتنظر كيف تحاور ربك والشيطان. أكثيرا أنت تعلم كيف تحاور إنسان.
You who are a man, consider how you talk to your Lord and the devil. Is it then too much to hope you've learned how to talk with your fellow men?
لا ناقوس ولا مهدنة يا عبد، لماذا لا تسمع ربك في النهار؟
Bell or minaret, O servant of God, why won't you hear your Lord in a flute?
Last poem, القصيدة الأخيرة. يوليسيس. على جسر مالمو رأيت الفرات يمد يديه ويأخذني، قلت أين؟ ولم أكمل الحلم حتى رأيت جيوش أمية من كل صوب تطوقني، وداعا لنافذة في بلاد الخراب، وداعا لسعف تجرده الطائرات من الخضرة الداكنة، وداعا لتنور أمي، وداعا لتاريخنا المتآكل فوق الروازين، وداعا لما سوف نتركه في اليدين، وداعا نغادره الوطن المر، لكن إلى أين؟ كل المنافي أمر. النخيل الذي ظللتني طوالعه لم يعد منه غير بقايا تصاوير شاحبة ومصاطب فارغة، وجذوع مشانق ترنو لأعناقنا الحالمة، والفرات الذي عمدتني مواجعه لم يزل سادرا بأنين القرى الهائمة. آه يوليس، آه يوليس، ليتك لم تصل الآن، ليت الطريق إلى مالمو كان أبعد أبعد أبعد. أي هذا الغريب الذي لم يجد لحظة مبهجة، كيف تغدو المنافي سجونا بلا أسجة.
Ulysses. On Malmo Bridge, I saw the Euphrates stretching out its hands to carry me, and my dream couldn't end until I saw the Umayyad army besieging me from every direction. Goodbye to the window in the land of devastation. Goodbye to the palms pared of their green by warplanes. Goodbye to the clay oven of my mother. Goodbye to our history, rusting on its racks. Goodbye to what may be left in our hands. Farewell. We're leaving a bitter land. We're going where? All exile is bitter. The palms whose helixes used to give me shade, of them nothing's left but a pale image. Empty benches now, and their trunks gallows for our dreaming necks. And the Euphrates, whose pain baptized me, flows on impassive past plaintive villages. Oh, Ulysses, if you hadn't come, if only the road to Malmo were long, 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 long. You stranger, unable to touch one instant of joy, how come all exile now is a prison without walls?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm just going to read two poems. The first is for Adnan, and it's called Swimmer. And it came about because I interviewed Adnan and another Iraqi called Ramaz Ghazal, because I wanted to find out, to get inside the heads of people who came from the culture, who had actually experienced the things that the West have looked on as they happened. And this poem, it took a very long time to write. I finally wrote it while I was swimming in the local swimming pool. It came into my head. And so I'm reading this now for Adnan and for all Iraqis who've suffered in the war. Swimmer, for Adnan al-Sayegh. Trust water and it will carry you. After all, it was our first element. Our aqueous cells cry out to be reunited, go tapping along inside our skin like blind prisoners finding ways back to fluidity. Now my hands push forwards through the gather into a nimbus of breaking air, and I see you move deeper to a region of mud and reeds, or your fleet shape, harrow sketchy clouds, as you break the wet lid of the river, spray the Euphrates with falling diamonds. Back then, what you fled was the midday heat and your father's sick bed, your mother frayed by the burden of constant want. Later, the soldier's rough, the dirt of spent cartridges after they'd done their bloody business. You, a poet, darkened by contaminants, restless with visions, Nimrod's inheritor, buoyed by rifts of thought as stateless as the fish you swam with. Now you have another river. Feel the pull of other tides that have brought strangers to the weather of exile since the Romans. Your voice travels out, heaped and precious as the Ronda coals my father's uncles shoveled, miners like those who sang to Jesus as Tenueth waters rose up the shaft towards them, their wives leaving spitting kettles to run from their kitchens, drawing shawls tighter, suddenly old as light pearls, the pit's last candle drooping like a hanged girl. Taj Kando is going to kindly read the translation in Arabic.
consumer by January بعد صاير translated by غسان edited by صلاح ديازي. ضع ثقتك بالماء وهو سيحملك، وفي نهاية المطاف هو عنصرنا سوى، وخلايانا المائية تصبح بنطفئ مشمعة تدق على جدار جلدنا مثل سجنات عميان، وتجد سبلا للعودة إلى السيول. والآن تندفع يداي خلال الجمع إلى هالة هواء وتكسر فأراك تتغلغل في نبضة طين وقصب أو أرى هيئتك المسرعة تسكر سحابا ضئيلا وأنت تكسر الغطاء الندي للنهر وتنظر على الفرات ماسا متساقطا، وهناك ما هربت منه هو حرارة منتصف النهار وسرير مرض والدك ووالدتك التي أنهكها العبء الدائم، وبعد ذلك خشونة الدنيا وقذارة الخراطيش المستهلكة بعد أدائها عملها الدموي. وأنت الشاعر الذي أحسنتك المغرية وأطلقتك الأخلاق يا ولد النمرود، تفوق بمقطوعة أفكار لا وطن لها كما السمكة التي سبحت. والآن لديك نهر آخر تتحس بجذب آخر للمد والجذب. جلب غرباء إلى طقس المنفى منذ الرومان، وصوتك يقحم متراكما وزمينا مثل فحم الوضع الذي ورفضه أعوام أبي عمال المنازل، وأولئك الذين أرشدوا المسيح حين صعدت ليحفلوا إليه عبر المهوى، فترك زوجاتهم غلايهن الفائرة ليهربن من مطابخهن وأحكمن رد شالاتهن وهربن فجأة شد الموت. جمعة المنزل الأخير قتلت مثل فتاة مشمولة.
And the next poem is, the second poem is a poem for Ramaz Ghazal. I wrote 3 sonnets unrhymed for him. These poems are going to be published in my book, Taking Mesopotamia, which is going to be published this time next year by Oxford Poets Archive. So, Notes from Exile for Ramaz Ghazal. Cucumbers. In this Garden of Eden, where Genghis and Alexander left their marks and Cain murdered Abel, in this garden, this same garden, I tended my little patch of soil, growing melons with their showy yellow trumpets, and cucumbers, water holders, tubes of coolness shining in the desert. Before the flood, before the king list, known to Kurds, Arabs, Turkmens, Muslims, Christians, Jews and Chaldeans, Armenians, Yazidis, atheists, children of Mesopotamia who might have run at first light to cut the best one, saying as I did, Father, I've grown this for you.
ملاحظات من المنفى إلى رامز غزول، ترجمة غسان نامق، مراجعة عين الصائغ. كثاب في جنة عدن هذه حيث جنكيز والإسكندر تركا أثرهما، وحيث قابيل قتل هابيل، في تلك الجنة ذاتها اعتنيت بتربة أرض الصغيرة فزرعتها بالشمام بالأزهار الصغيرة الصفراء المبهرة. بوقية الشكل وبالغذاء الذي يحتجز الماء أنابيب برودة تلتمع الصحراء قبل الطوفان وقبل قائمة الملوك. عرفه الأكراد والعرب والتركمان والمسلمون والمسيحيون واليهود والكلدانيون والأرمن والإيزيديون والملحدون أبناء بلاد ما بين النهرين الذين ربما انطلقوا مع الضياء الأول لقطف أفضله وهم يقولون مثلما كنت أقول ابتداء أبتاه زرعت هذا لك.
And now we'll finish our reading with a poem that's from another play actually that's going to be performed here on the 8th of June, which is called Gilgamesh Rising, and Joe is going to be Gilgamesh. And Joe and Adnan very kindly, because they've got such wonderful voices, they very kindly agreed to read this for me. Then after that, Joe will just wrap up with another little bit of Gilgamesh, and Adnan will give the final word. And then there'll be a bit of time for questions and answers if you want to do that. Okay, thank you. So, Joe and Adnan.
The gods punish Gilgamesh with Enkidu's death. To those left behind, the gods leave grief. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Tablet 7.
الآلهة تعاقب جلجامش لموت إنكيدو. ترجمة غسان نامر، مراجعة حين الصائغ. لأولئك الذين يبقون لينالهم الأسى من الآلهة. ملحمة جلجامش اللوح السابع.
When I laid my hand on your shoulder, you turned to me. When you turned to me, I saw you weren't smiling.
حين وضعت يدي على كتفك التفت إلي، وحين التفت إلي رأيتك غير مبتسم.
When I saw you weren't smiling, I knew the gods would punish us. When I knew the gods would punish us, I tried to placate them.
وحين رأيتك غير مبتسم علمت أن الآلهة ستعاقبك. وحين علمت أن الآلهة ستعاقبك حاولت استرضاءها.
When I tried to placate them, they closed their minds to me. When they closed their minds to me, I knew it was hopeless.
وحين حاولت استرضاءها صمت آذانها عني. وحين صمت آذانها عني علمت أن الأمل مفقود.
When I knew it was hopeless, I cut my chest with a knife. When I cut my chest with a knife, blood spurted out.
وحين علمت أن الأمل مفقود طعنت صدري بالسكين. وحين طعنت صدري بالسكين تدفق الدم.
When blood spurted out, a maggot fell from your nostril. When a maggot fell from your nostril, I had to leave your body.
وحين تدفق الدم سقطت دودة من منخرك. وحين سقطت دودة من منخرك اضطررت لترك جسدك.
When I had to leave your body, I wandered in the wilderness. When I wandered in the wilderness, I dreamed about you.
وحين اضطررت لترك جسدك همت في البرية. وحين همت في البرية حلمت بك.
When I dreamed about you, I laid my hand on your shoulder. When I laid my hand on your shoulder, you turned to me. When you turned to me, I saw you weren't smiling.
وحين حلمت بك وضعت يدي على كتفك. وحين وضعت يدي على كتفك التفت إلي. وحين التفت إلي رأيتك غير مبتسم. وحين التفت إلي
when you turned to me,
رأيتك
I saw you
غير
weren't
مبتسم.
smiling. And so at the end of Gilgamesh, when Gilgamesh has learned his lessons and has to return home. Enkidu, indeed, they took to his doom. But you toiled away, and what did you achieve? You exhaust yourself with ceaseless toil. You fill your sinews with sorrow, bringing forward the end of your days. Man is snapped off like a reed in the canebrake. The comely young man, the pretty young woman, all too soon, in their prime, death abducts them. No one at all sees death. No one at all sees the face of death. No one at all hears the voice of death. Death, so savage, who hacks men down. Ever do we build our households. Ever do we make our nests. Ever do brothers divide their inheritance? Ever do feuds arise in the land? Ever the river has risen and brought us the flood, the mayfly floating on the water. On the face of the sun, its countenance gazes. Then all of a sudden, nothing is there.
يرتفع النهر ويأتي بالفيضان على الدوام، والفراشة لا تكاد تخرج من شرنقتها فتبصر وجه الشمس حتى يحل أجلها، ولم يكن دوام وخلود منذ القدم.
Thank you all very much for being such a great attentive audience. And thank you to the Ashmolean and to Jude Barrett for helping or allowing us to do this and making it all possible. Thank you very much to Paul Collins for introducing us and writing the introduction for our pamphlet, which will be on sale on the 28th of April, which is going to be the next reading. And also for having such a wonderful sort of slice of Mesopotamia here in Oxford. Thank you very much to Adnan, who's a marvellous poet and reader. Thank you very much to Joe and to Taj for being with us today. And I hope we'll see you again.